And here we are once again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I am Mobile Geezer. As you can see, you're on my channel. And if this is your first time here, welcome. And please think about subscribing. And we do this live every Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time from the U.S. But we have people watching from different parts of the world, which is always great. So we had Eleanor was the first one in here. I said, back in your number one spot. Of course, she wished everybody a great weekend like she always does. And I said, back in your number one shot. And she said, I wonder how that happens. So as I do every week, I will show you my website. We can follow the stories for tonight. Let me share the screen here. Go to my website. So here's my website, mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. If you click on the first story, which has today's date, you'll be able to follow the stories along. Now we've got some kind of big news. Don't know if you've heard it yet, but these were the way I was going to list the stories. But after I got home, I think about 5:45, I was going to do a story about how Elon may back out of the Twitter deal. But at 5:45 p.m. here, I had to go back in and say story has changed. Musk did back out of the Twitter deal. So I've got that coming from the USA Today. And before I bring it up, I'm not sure who's going to join Mike, Will, Ted, maybe even Mark, who knows. But if they come in, I'll certainly let you know. And it's always better when they're here. But I was going to start with the other story, but we're going to start with the Twitter story first and Mr. Musk. So this one I pulled, everybody has this story, of course, but I pulled it from USA Today. Elon Musk terminates deal to buy Twitter. Board plans to sue. Well, no surprise there. And this was written by Madura Lee and Bailey Schultz. So let me go into reader view. Get rid of some of these commercials. Okay. So this turned out to be the big news. I was going to say of the day, actually of the week, month, whatever. Billionaire Elon Musk called off his deal to buy social media company Twitter, according to a filing on Friday with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Skadden Arp's attorney, Mike Ringler, said in a letter to Twitter's chief legal officer that Twitter has not complied with its contractual obligations. I assume Skadden Arps is Elon's attorneys. For nearly 2 months, the company has failed to provide Musk with information about fake or spam accounts, the letter said. The billionaire Tesla and SpaceX CEO is almost as known for his polarizing online persona as his entrepreneurial endeavors. He is popular on Twitter, where he chimes in on politics, talks business openly, and embraces the internet's meme culture. Some of his tweets have landed him in legal trouble. That's true. Musk deal termination of Twitter disaster. Never in a million years would I have imagined this. Daniel Ives, senior equity research analyst at Wedbush Securities. Well, we all kind of saw it coming for the last few weeks. He's asked for information for a long time. Ives predicts an uphill battle for Twitter in a lot of legal twists and turns. This is a disaster scenario for Twitter and its board, as now the company will battle Musk in an elongated court battle to recoup the deal and or the breakup fee of $1 billion at a minimum. And I would think Elon's probably very prepared to pay that $1 billion. I've said Musk should likely share in some of the blame. I disagree. It's going to be a black eye for Musk as well, I've said. He doesn't come out smelling like roses. Jennifer Greigel, a professor at Syracuse University who studies social media extensively, Believed from the start that a powerful man like Musk may have had cruel intentions when pursuing Twitter. Okay. I think it's fair to say that he understands it's a powerful communications platform and he used it to wage some political battle, Greil said about Musk. He felt that his speech was threatened and he needed to maintain his power and privilege. Okay. When did Musk agree to buy Twitter? Musk's $44 billion deal was confirmed in late April after Musk spent nearly 3 months buying up Twitter shares to increase his stake in the company. At the time, billionaire said he wanted to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans. So why isn't Musk buying Twitter? In a word, bots. While Twitter has said bots make up just 5% of its monetizable daily active users, the letter says that Twitter appears to be dramatically understating the portion of spam and false accounts. Musk has previously contended that the count is 20% or higher. And I have seen other people studying this, and some people think it's higher than 20%. How is the Twitter board responding? The board plans to sue Musk, according to Bret Taylor, chair of Twitter's board. The Twitter board is committed to closing the transaction on the price and terms agreed upon with Mr. Musk and plans to pursue legal action to enforce the merger agreement. We are confident we will prevail in the Delaware Court of Chancery. In his latest quarterly report, Twitter warned that its financial condition may suffer, if the merger does not close. Tumbling stock prices, low investor confidence, stockholder lawsuits, and business disruptions were just a few of the possibilities the company laid out. Can Musk walk away? According to a document filed with the SEC on April 25th, Musk would be on the hook for $1 billion if he terminates the deal. I'm thinking he'll just pay the $1 billion. That's my guess. So anyway, that's the big news of today, of this month, of the past few months. So he's backed out of the deal and he's filed it. So figured I should start with that one since it's such a big deal. So let's close this. And let's see, Annette's in here. Hey, Annette, glad to have you here. And Ted is in here. Ted, you can join if you want to, I can only hope that Ted will come in at some point, if he has the time, of course. So, what's Ted saying? No takebacks. Had Musk grew up in America, he would know that. I think we have a country full of takebacks. Anyway, so he's backed out, and now we'll see who wins the court battle. My guess is that Twitter will win the battle to have him pay the $1 billion, and my guess is he'll end up paying the $1 billion and walking away. You folks chime in with your opinions. Well, Ted already did. So that was the number one story. That was going to be the number 3 story. So we'll see if Ted decides to come in with us, and I'm not sure about Mike. He didn't say anything about whether he'd be in here or not this week. So let me turn on my usual stuff here. Let's see. Okay. Back to the comments. So, I guess I should change this up. I'm going back to what was going to be my number 1 story. Now, as you can see, I was starting with the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, but I said China only, sorry to say. And everybody big has their hands on this phone, and this thing look at that camera module. So let's go look at the article. It's on Phone Arena. So this was 4 days ago. Xiaomi 12S Ultra goes official. The next era of smartphone cameras. And that very well may be true. So let me go into reader view. Okay. Yeah, we still got the picture. Okay. This is by Victor Ristov. It not only looks large, but there's a solid reason behind this extra large camera setup. The Xiaomi 12S Ultra is the first phone to feature the new Sony IMX989 image sensor, which happens to be the largest camera sensor built specifically for smartphones. Might as well let you see look at that camera. And I was watching a video from MKBHD about it a little while ago. And this is not the main camera with the big image sensor. It's over here. This is the wide angle, but this is the one everybody's making the fuss about. So it's expected to land in many other phones in the future, but this here, I can't believe, but this here. Okay, Xiaomi device is the first one to get it. In the camera section below, you will see its exact size and how it dwarfs what was recently considered a big sensor, like the one on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So the Xiaomi 12S Ultra clearly aims to change the world of smartphone photography, but it is also a proper powerhouse of a flagship. Oh, and according to MKBHD, he thinks they're out after Samsung, and Samsung specifically, with this camera. It's equipped with the top-of-the-line Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chip. So they're one up on Samsung already because they're ahead of them with that chip. The fastest RAM memory and storage, and of course, it also has a big and beautiful 6.7-inch OLED screen. But first things first, let's start with a look at the Xiaomi 12S Ultra camera. Triple camera system with a massive 1-inch sensor used for the main shooter. And Ted says, beautiful phone. Yes, it is. I think it's beautiful. I wish it was coming here. The Xiaomi 12S Ultra camera system is a giant circle on the back of the phone, which houses 3 rear cameras. In the center is the new main shooter. Well, according to MKBHD, this is the main shooter, and this is the wide angle. And you can see that it looks much larger than the rest. To the left is the ultra wide, and below the main snapper and is a 5x zoom periscope camera. So they're saying this is the main. MKBHD says this is the main. He had the phone in his hand, so I'm thinking he's probably right. Camera specs: 50 megapixel wide camera, 23 millimeter f1.9 aperture, 1-inch sensor. That's the Sony IMX989. 48 megapixel ultra wide, 13 megapixel f2.2 aperture, half-inch sensor. 48 megapixel 5.2 times zoom camera, 120 megapixel f4.1 half-inch sensor. The secret ingredient to the camera magic sauce that Xiaomi has cooked up is in the Sony IMX989 sensor. So you can see how it compares to others. This is the iPhone 13 Pro Max size. This is the 989 size. So you can see 1 inch. And of course, everybody is saying it's not really 1 inch, but it's as close to 1 inch as anybody's come. And it's the first 1-inch sensor that's built specifically for a smartphone. I guess the other couple of phones that have had the so-called 1-inch sensor had taken them from cameras, but this one was built just for this phone. Xiaomi, just for phones, not this phone. The Xiaomi 12S Ultra uses the IMX989 sensor. Such a large sensor means bigger individual pixel sizes that reach 1.6 UM. I don't know what UM is. Ted, you probably need to tell me what UM is. And after pixel binning, this goes up to 3.2 UM, a big increase compared to the competition. This helps you get photos with less noise, extending dynamic range, and more light captured. On the top of the sensor sits a new 8 megapixel aspheric lens that further helps with common photography issues like flare, ghosting, and chromatic aberration. Wait a minute. Ted is saying Type 1 sensor is the true technical name for that sensor size. Okay. In fact, the whole camera module of the Xiaomi 12S Ultra has anti-glare lens coating, lens edge ink coating, now get this, cyclic olefin copolymer material and infrared light filter with spin coating technology. Even he says, okay, half of these words don't mean much to us either, but the gist is you get clearer overall picture across the lens. So there's, with the Leica partnership, is uncoated lens. This is what they're coated Leica optics. So you can see the glare is like gone. And I've seen a few people showing pictures, including MKBHD, and it does take some pretty spectacular pictures. MKBHD pointed out that that's with the main lens. It seems like with the ultra wide is not much greater than any other cameras. A Xiaomi 12S Ultra clear lens effectively gets rid of flare, as you can see there. Images are not just specs, of course. And to help get beautiful colors out of these impressive new sensors, Xiaomi has partnered with Leica in two key areas, the lenses and the imaging. Yeah, and they give you two different options when you get ready to take a photo, too. The lens has undergone stringent optical quality testing standards, while colors have been tweaked to closely adhere to Leica's signature look and feel, and you get two different styles to pick from, exactly. You get Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. So this is what the Authentic looks like, and this is what the Vibrant looks like. Now, to me, this one looks more enhanced, but Leica Authentic look delivers a natural imagery for which Leica is known. It returns light and shadow contrast, and it does that beautifully. Leica Vibrant look is a combination of Xiaomi computation magic and Leica image know-how. I do like the Authentic much better. And of course, I'll let Ted chime in and tell me what I'm really talking about. See, what is he saying here? Wish Xiaomi included a monochrome sensor. Leica does great things with monochrome stuff. Yeah, I think we all like monochrome, but I'm trying to remember if I've had a phone with Leica lens. It seems like I have in the past, but I'm not sure. Too many phones. RAW photo support. The entire Xiaomi 12X series also has 10-bit RAW support with color correction metadata embedded in the files. This means that once you import the RAW files in Adobe Lightroom, Adobe Camera Raw will automatically optimize the photos and give you a great starting point for your edits. Video. And everybody I've seen what, 3 different people showing their cameras off, and the video, nobody was any more impressed than with other video. Although it does a great job. First Android device to support Dolby Vision HDR, which is kind of cool. The 12S Ultra is the first Android device to bring Dolby Vision HDR videos for both video recording and playback. This high dynamic range standard is a joy to look at. Yeah, it is kind of cool. A key element of great video is solid stabilization, and you'll get the new Hyper iOS taking care of that too. This new technology uses the gap between the 2 frames to drive the OIS motor to its original position for a full range of stabilization and steadier shots. 6.7-inch screen size and a beautiful leather-like finish. Yeah, and you can see it. Looks like leather. It's faux leather, but it looks cool. The Xiaomi 12S Ultra comes with a 6.73 AMOLED color display. Peak brightness reaches the impressive 1500 nits, which is great. While resolution is sharp at 1440p, and you get a variable 1 to 120 hertz refresh rate for smooth scrolling. I hope you can lock in on whichever one you want. The phone is on the bigger side, of course, with a slight curve to the screen, but it's the material on the back that is particularly interesting, as it reminds a leather in look and feel. I guess it means it reminds us of leather. You get IP68 dust and water resistance, just as you'd expect from a modern flagship. Performance. Under the hood, the Xiaomi 12S Ultra is powered by the latest Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor. Xiaomi claims that compared to the 8 Gen 1 used on Galaxy S22 family, which I have here. The Plus version is 21% smaller, and both CPU and GPU get a 10% performance boost and a 30% energy efficiency improvement. The company has also developed a new heat dissipation system similar to the vanes of a leaf that better absorbs the heat. A 3D cooling pump uses a series of channels like a capillary network, bringing hot air opposite of warm areas, greatly improving efficiency. You also get two new proprietary Xiaomi Surge chips, Xiaomi Surge P1 fast charging chipset and Xiaomi Surge G1 battery management chipset, offering big improvements in battery management and overall user experience. Sounds pretty cool. New battery management chips ensure your battery will remain in its best shape for years. Speaking of battery, the Xiaomi 12S Ultra has a 4,860 milliamp single-cell silicon oxygen anode battery. The Surge G1 battery management chip monitors the discharge load and accurately predicts the available battery life of the device, while adaptive charging prevents the battery from overcharging and thus increases the number of total charge cycles by 25%. Charging speeds are not the fastest Xiaomi has, but still better than your Galaxies and iPhones. You get 67-watt wired fast charging, 50-watt wireless fast charging, and 10-watt reverse wireless charging. This translates into a full 0 to 100 charge in just 41 minutes via cable and 52 minutes wirelessly. That's quick. Here's your specs. And I think you get, let's see, I thought it had an earphone jack, but I could be wrong. So price from $900 in China. And I've already seen another article that this is, there's three models, but they're going to stay in China, and according to what everybody's saying, only in China. So we're not going to get this in the U.S., and neither is anybody else. I gather we'll be getting some others. So everybody was excited about this, and I was too until I found out we weren't going to get it in the U.S. So anyway, very cool looking phone, beautiful phone, and I guess if you want to import it, but certainly not going to have the U.S. bans. But that got me excited, just like it did a lot of other people. So let me stop screen. Okay, I took my hat off. It's hot in here. This is my room faces the southwest, and this time of day is when it's the hottest in here. So let me move on. And back to the comments. Ted says Huawei P series had a monochrome sensor. Now, speaking of Huawei, I didn't bring a story about it, but in India, seems like the Indian government is going after Huawei, Vivo, and Oppo because they're claiming they're laundering money and underreporting profits and getting the money out of the country. And they raided Vivo's office yesterday. They raided Vivo's offices in India. 2 months ago, they raided Huawei's offices twice already, and I gather Oppo is in that too. So I didn't include a story about it, but they're really going after them. Hey, Brian, glad to have you here, brother. Only stories I've done was on the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, and of course, the big story for tonight was we found out a couple of hours ago that Elon is not buying Twitter. He's backing out. So that's all I've done so far. And as usual, thank you very much, sir. You're very kind. And you can see where your money's going. Oh, by the way, if you notice, I'm not having any camera issues tonight with it cutting off. During last week's stream, Eric suggested that I get the Canon software, which was free, and I did download it and I applied it to the camera, and I have no more issues with the camera shutting itself off. So I've got the much better picture, and thanks to him, no shut off. So I wanted to give him credit for that. So no Mike or Will or Ted yet. I'll let you know if anybody comes in. So moving on, let's go back to sharing screen. I don't know if you can hear the thunder outside. It just started thundering here a lot just before I went live, but it's still thundering, so I'm not sure if you can hear it. So let me share screen again. Back to the stories. And this one is Apple lockdown mode coming to iPhones, iPads, and Macs later this year. And yeah, Brian says, easy gives great advice. Yeah, I did send him a note on Twitter to thank him too. Okay, Ted is busy at the moment just enjoying the show. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying the show, but if you can get in, I'll be appreciative. All right, so this one was on CNET, and a few other people had it too. Apple's new lockdown mode for iPhone fights hacking and spyware. It's by Ian Scher. So let's go into grid view. Okay. Apple will be offering a new lockdown mode for its iPhones, iPads, and Mac computers. It's designed to fight advanced hacking and targeted spyware like the NSO Group's Pegasus. And I know that's been a problem. Though these attacks happen to a small group of people, the threat is growing. Pegasus was used by repressive governments to spy on human rights activists, lawyers, politicians, and journalists. Apple says it's identified similar attacks on people in 150 countries over the past 8 months. Yeah, this company Pegasus, they make stuff for it. Governments can buy it to go spy on others. So that's what they do. Apple will release lockdown mode for free later this year and is making a public commitment to regular updates and improvements. The company has also expanded its bug bounties and established a grant to encourage further research toward this issue. Apple for years has marketed its phones, iPads, and Macs as the most secure and privacy-focused devices on the market. On Wednesday, it bolstered that effort with a new feature coming this fall called Lockdown Mode, designed to fight targeted hacking attempts like the Pegasus malware, which oppressive governments reportedly used on human rights workers, lawyers, politicians, and journalists. Apple also announced a $10 million grant and up to $2 million bug bounty to encourage further research into this growing threat. The tech giant said that lockdown mode is designed to activate extreme protections to its phones, such as blocking attachments and link previews in messages, potentially hackable web browsing technologies, and incoming FaceTime calls from unknown numbers. That's good. Apple devices will also not accept accessory connections unless the device is unlocked. And people can't install new remote management software on the devices while they're in lockdown mode as well. So it sounds pretty cool. The new feature is already available in test software being used by developers this summer and will be released for free publicly in the fall as part of iOS 16, iPad OS 16, and Mac OS Ventura. While the vast majority of users will never be the victims of highly targeted cyber attacks, we will work tirelessly to protect the small number of users who are, said Evan Kirstic, Apple's head of security, engineering, and architecture, in a statement. Lockdown mode is a groundbreaking capability that reflects our unwavering commitment to protecting users from even the rarest, most sophisticated attacks. It does sound like a groundbreaking technology. Apple designed lockdown mode to be easy to turn on through the settings app on its devices. Although with the new lockdown mode, which Apple calls extreme measure, the company announced, the new lockdown mode, which Apple calls an extreme measure, the company announced a $10 million grant to the Dignity and Justice Fund, which was established by the Ford Foundation to help support human rights and fight social repression. The company's efforts to enhance its device security comes at a time when the tech industry is increasingly confronting targeted cyber attacks from oppressive governments around the world. Unlike widespread ransomware or virus campaigns, which are often designed to indiscriminately spread furthest and quickest through homes and corporate networks, attacks like those using Pegasus are designed for quiet intelligence gathering. Last September, Apple sent out a free software update that addressed Pegasus, and then it sued NSO Group in an effort to stop the company from developing or selling any more hacking tools. It also began sending threat notifications to potential victims of these hacking tools, which Apple calls mercenary spyware. Well, that's what it is. The company said that while the number of people targeted in these campaigns is very small, it's notified people in about 150 countries since November. Other tech companies have also expanded their approach to security in recent years. Google has an initiative called Advanced Account Protection, designed for anyone who is at an elevated risk of targeted online attacks by adding extra layers of safety to logins and downloads. Microsoft has been increasingly working to dump passwords. Apple said it plans to expand lockdown mode over time and announced a bug bounty up to 2 million. Yes, we already heard that. For people who find security holes in a new feature. For now, it's designed primarily to disable computer features that might be helpful, but that open people to potential attacks. That includes turning off some fonts, link previews, and incoming FaceTime calls from unknown accounts. That sounds pretty good. Apple representatives said the company sought to find a balance between usability and extreme protections, adding that the company is publicly committing to strengthening and improving the feature. In the most recent iteration of lockdown mode, which is being sent to developers in an upcoming test software update, apps that display web pages will follow the same restrictions that Apple's apps follow, though people can pre-approve some websites to circumvent lockdown mode if needed. That's good. People in lockdown mode will also have to unlock their device before it'll connect with accessories. In addition, Apple said it hopes a planned $10 million grant to the Dignity and Justice Fund will help encourage more research on these issues and expand training and security audits for people who might be targeted. Every day we see these threats broadening and deepening, said Lori McClinchy, the director of Ford Foundation's Technology and Society program, who is working with technical advisors, including Apple's CareStick, to help direct the fund. In recent years, state and non-state actors have used spyware to track and intimidate human rights defenders, environmental activists, and political dissidents in virtually every region of the world. Ron Deibert, a professor of political science and director of the Citizen Lab, cybersecurity researchers at the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy at the University of Toronto, said he expects Apple's lockdown mode will be a major blow to spyware companies and the governments who rely on their products. Let's hope so. We're doing all we can alongside a number of investigative journalists working this beat, but that's been it. And that's been a huge asymmetry. He said, adding that Apple's $10 million grant will help attract more work towards this issue. You have an enormous industry that's very lucrative and almost entirely unregulated, profiting from huge contracts from governments that have an appetite to engage this type of espionage. So this sounds like a pretty good thing to me. I'll be glad when we get it. So I thought that was a very interesting story, and obviously Apple is doing a very good thing. So let's go back to the comments. Okay, nothing new in the comments, and none of the guys have come in as yet. So we will continue on with our next story. Back to sharing screen. No, got to take this off. Okay. All right, we've already done. For anybody who doesn't know, so Musk is not buying Twitter. And that story is all over the place already, even though it only came out, I think, at 5:45 my time. And this, I just thought people, I tried to bring you some stories that maybe you guys haven't heard about. And this one didn't seem like much was said about it here. I just thought it was interesting. And this was on Digital Trends. And this happened on July 4th in Japan. Japan suffers horrendous phone network outage for most of the weekend. So that's by Trevor Moog. Going to read a view. So there's an update here. KDDI, that's the organization. Oh yeah, that's the phone company, the provider that, I guess their biggest provider that had the big outage. Said on Tuesday that it had finally succeeded in fully restoring its service after 86 hours of destruction. So I gather the biggest provider in the country was shut down for 86 hours, or mostly shut down. Tens of millions of cell phone users in Japan were unable to connect for most of the weekend in what's believed to be the country's worst ever service outage in terms of the number of lines affected. Mobile carrier company KDDI said the disruption began early on Saturday and continued through Sunday, though some users were still experiencing problems on Monday. That's a long outage. The unprecedented outage impacted nearly 40 million customers, equal to about a third of the country's population, national broadcaster NHK reported. Affected services included KDDI's AU brand. I think that's probably Australia, as well as customers of UQ Mobile and Povo services, which use KDDI's infrastructure. It's not entirely clear what caused the outage. I think that came from a mistake they made. Though KDDI said it began when engineers were installing new equipment, and the government is on their case about this one too, big time. Users, some of them corporate customers, were unable to make calls or use the internet, leaving those desperate to make a call having to borrow a friend's phone or seek out one of the decreasing number of public payphones. I'm shocked that they have public payphones. Unable to make calls, do online banking, organize deliveries, book rides, and take advantage of the myriad of other services normally available to phone users, tens of millions of regular customers were left extremely frustrated, I'm sure. Communications Minister Kaneko Yasushi said the incident was a concern because it also made it hard for some services to respond to emergency calls. That's pretty serious. Responding to the debacle on Sunday while delivering the customary apologetic bow, KDDI President Takahashi Makoto said that he recognized the outage as a serious incident and promised his company would respond appropriately according to Japanese law. So I just thought that was kind of something we should know about, because I didn't hardly see anybody else reporting on that story at all. So we're not the only ones that suffered big out. This sounds like it was a really bad one too. So let's get rid of that. Stop screen. And none of the other guys have comes in. So it looks like I'm going to be on my own tonight. Yeah, Brian said people in the U.S. would have been acting okay. That's true. Yeah, I guess the Japanese people probably took a lot better than we would have, is my guess. Okay, so now we'll go on to one that I think is kind of cool. And this phone isn't out yet, but take a look at this picture. This was on Digital Trends. I said Zenfone 9, interesting flagship gimmicks coming soon from Asus. Oh, this was on The Verge. So Asus's leaked Zenfone 9 video shows fun gimmicks like a scroll key and a shoulder mount, a back mount, and a modernized scroll wheel. So this thing just looks kind of different. I won't say cool, but it certainly looks different. Go to reader view and let's take it out of reader view so you can still see the. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Now, it has this button on the side where you can scroll up and down while you're in articles, which is kind of cool. And they're calling it the Zen Touch Slide the Smart Key to Move a Page. So that's different. Let's see if I can go into reader view now. Yep. And this was by Mitchell Clark from yesterday. Asus accidentally leaked a promo video for its apparently upcoming Zenfone 9 on its YouTube channel, and the phone's got some very interesting quirks and features. To borrow a phrase, perhaps the most interesting, at least for the people who could take or leave a headphone jack, is what Asus has done with the side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which the video labels as the smart key. It shows, he says, a creepy CGI hand swiping through a web page by sliding its finger along the side of the phone. Okay, I didn't say anything creepy, but okay. Let's see if we don't have any other picture. It's not exactly unusual to have some sort of gesture built into the fingerprint reader. Phones like the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip Fold 3 let you bring down the notification shade with a similar swipe, and those phones are far from the first to do it. I remember that feature from my Pixel 2. But using it to actually scroll through content feels like a fun throwback to the age where phones had physical dials or rollerballs, that's right, for scrolling. Will Asus's version, which it calls ZenTouch, be an RSI disaster or a gimmick? Or a gimmick you use once before turning it off forever? Perhaps. But it will feel rad as hell that one time you try it. Will it feel rad as hell that one time you try it? I'd bet yes. Fun side button aside, the Zenfone 9 seems like a very interesting gadget. According to Twitter user Snoopy Tech, who's had some accurate leaks before, the phone will have a 5.9-inch screen with a 120 hertz refresh rate and will be powered by the same Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chip that Asus put in its gaming focused ROG Phone 6. Yeah, and I started to do a story on the ROG Phone 6, which everybody had, all the big shots had this week, but I figured, okay, that's not really going to be released here either, so I didn't bother. They also say that the phone will cost between 800 and 900 euros, around 850 to 950 US. That's a fair bit higher than the $699 starting price for the previous Gen Zenfone 8, which my colleague Allison Johnson called fantastic in her review. So I gather that's part of what leaked. Plus, it comes in fun colors. We'll just have to wait for an official announcement and hands-on to see if that price jump is justified. Yeah, I'm thinking that should work in the US too, or if it's accurate. But the video does indicate at least a few improvements that could help justify the added cost. The battery has gotten a bit bigger compared to the Zenfone 8, which had a 4,000 milliamp cell that provided just okay runtime. The video also says that the phone's two cameras are massively upgraded and shows that the main one features a 6-axis hybrid gimbal stabilizer. That sounds pretty cool. It then shows that feature being used with a truly wacky accessory called the Smart Backpack Mount, which looks like it's trying to emulate a piece of gear that professional videographers use to hoist heavy cameras all day. But for a phone, yeah, let me come out of reader view just to show you that. I think that picture is here. Okay. Okay, that picture was on my. Let me click on this. You won't hear it, but you'll see it. I just want to see if it has that holster thing. I don't remember. Let me jump ahead. Okay, and there's using that scrolling feature. And yeah, and check that shoulder harness or whatever they call. Look at that. That's seriously different. And with a gimbal stabilizer. Anyway, pretty cool. So down to the last paragraph. Oh, there it is again. Okay, there you go. Accessories aside, there's also a seemingly modular phone case that you can connect the kickstand wallet to. This preview actually gets me excited to see the Zenfone 9 officially, and me too, see it revealed. Sure, it's not the iPhone mini clone running Android that some people want, but it seems like it'll continue the Zenfone tradition of being a compact-ish but high-end Android phone with a few fun features thrown in to keep things interesting. And the headphone jack. I cannot get enough of the headphone jack. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. So I might look into that one when it comes out, but it's not out yet. So just interesting. And Renz is here. Glad you're here, brother. I'm sure you must be at work. Thank you as always, Renz. You're very kind. You and Brian are just loyal as all get out, and I appreciate it. All right. So I guess the other guys aren't coming tonight. So let me go on down with the stories. Oh, I didn't know. What holiday are you having there, Renz? Didn't know what's the holiday over in the Philippines. Just let us know in the comments. Anyway, enjoy the holiday. So maybe you're not at work. Okay, that's cool. If you're not at work and enjoying a holiday, that's a very good thing. All right, back to Sherry. And the next story. This one I just thought was kind of crazy. Okay. Waymo autonomous cars being attacked. I gather this is only in Phoenix this happens, but it's more than once. So this was also on The Verge. Waymo autonomous vehicle attacked by an erratic pedestrian in Arizona. I gather this is not the first. The safety driver was not seriously harmed. So I gather they have these autonomous vehicles, but there is a driver in the car just not driving it. So let's go into read review. And this was by Andrew J. Hawkins. An erratic pedestrian attacked a Waymo autonomous vehicle late Tuesday evening in Tempe, Arizona, smashing the windshield and injuring the safety driver, the company said. It was the latest incident of people in Arizona attacking Waymo vehicles and occasionally their safety drivers as the company ramps up its commercial service in the state. According to the company, a Waymo vehicle was traveling down the street in autonomous mode at 3 a.m. on July 5th when a pedestrian ran out in front of it. The safety driver saw the pedestrian and switched the vehicle into manual mode, bringing it to a full stop before the person leaped onto the hood. The person, whom Waymo spokesperson Nick Smith described as erratic, then punctured the windshield, they didn't say with what either, injuring the driver. Police soon apprehended the suspect, and the Waymo driver was transported to a nearby medical facility for treatment, though Smith says the driver was not seriously harmed, thank God. The company is in communication with local law enforcement about the incident, Smith added. A video of the damaged Waymo vehicle, one of the company's electric Jaguar I-Pace vehicle, was posted on Twitter a few hours after the incident took place. I don't think. Let me take this out of read view. I think we can see it. It doesn't show much really, but you guys see it. Okay. Yeah, there it is. So this was after the incident had happened, and you can see he attacked it here. So you can see some stuff in here. So I gather he just jumped on the hood and punctured the windshield. So, but that's all it really shows. So people are nuts. So back to read review. Waymo operates a commercial ride-hailing service using both fully driverless vehicles, no safety driver behind the wheel, and vehicles with drivers in Phoenix and the surrounding towns, including Tempe. But while local elected officials and business leaders have welcomed the company with open arms, some residents are less than enthused about sharing the road with Waymo's robot vehicles. The company's vehicles have been subject to a variety of attacks in the past few years, including people threatening or physically attacking them with guns, knives, and rocks. Well, I bet you're better off shooting a car than a person. In 2018, the Arizona Republic reported that police in Chandler, one of the towns where Waymo operates, have logged at least 24 incidents. Some drivers have tried running Waymo's vehicles off the road. I doubt if you're driving and the car is automated, I would think you're probably not going to be able to run it off the road. A man drove up alongside one of the company's minivans and threatened the safety driver with a piece of PVC pipe. Yeah, he would only do that to me once. An incident in 2017 when a self-driving Uber vehicle struck and killed a pedestrian, and this is why people are upset, I guess, in Tempe, seems to have sparked some of the violent backlash. One man cited the Uber incident when questioned by police after waving a .22 caliber pistol at a Waymo car. Never mind the fact that Waymo wasn't involved in that crash. Waymo has said that the attacks are few and far between, and the vast majority of its vehicles are able to drive thousands of miles every day without incident. So I guess just people in the Phoenix area are very upset. So, very weird story anyway. It's a Muslim holiday. Well, enjoy the holiday very, very much, sir. Okay. So I'm going to go down to my last story. And this one's about LG. So LG hasn't completely died. I said LG may still be in the camera lens business. I gather they still are. And this was on Android headlines. So LG is working on lenses that can reduce camera size. This sounds pretty interesting and pretty exciting if they get it in a bunch of different phones. It's by Arthur Brown from yesterday. So let me go into review. LG has been working on several different projects in the tech industry, as is usually the case. According to The Elect, the Korean company is working on a new type of lens that might be a game changer in the camera industry. LG is working on developing MetaLens technology. The company has been investing in different ventures over the past couple of years. This includes robotics, electric vehicles, and even supplying batteries to its rival Samsung. There are also some new and exciting LG short-throw projectors that the company recently unveiled. So they're still in business. People often underestimate tech giants like LG, Samsung, Microsoft, Google, etc. They're involved in hundreds of projects, and many of them aren't in the public. Yeah, I thought they were just mainly making money off their appliances and TVs. We know about LG's appliances, displays, and TVs, but the company is working on several other projects that go under the radar. This is the story of the MetaLens technology. LG, along with companies like Samsung, are working on bringing this technology to life. More specifically, the branch that's working on this is LG Innotek. The Elect reports that Min-Sok Kang, LG's Innotek's president, announced this at the Nano Korea keynote lecture. MetaLens technology will have an effect on photography, as you can guess. Traditional lenses are either curved pieces of glass or plastic that bend the light to a desired degree. This is how it's been done for centuries, but a MetaLens will actually be a flat piece of glass. This sounds exciting to me. The glass is coated in nanoscopic particles that will actually affect the light that passes through. These nanoparticles will be able to bend the light in the same way that traditional lenses can. So, of course, it'll be smaller. Having a flat piece of glass will allow the camera module to be much thinner. This type of technology could be used for all types of cameras, and smartphone cameras could definitely see a difference. There are about 1,000 different camera bumps on the phones that we see, and some of them could actually be an annoyance. If they were to use metal lenses, they might be able to remove the camera bump altogether. Wouldn't that be nice? Without making the phone itself thicker. Though LG and Samsung are working hard on this technology, it might still be a while before we see the technology in any device. When it comes to hit prime time, we're sure that we'll see some differences in phone design. So I just think it's kind of a sign. Maybe we'll get cameras that won't take up so much room, and we'll get rid of camera bumps. So let's get rid of this. Let's stop sharing. And Ted says LG doing what they can to make smartphones. But yeah, this sounds pretty exciting to me. So it'll be interesting to see how long we have to wait for this. So let me share once more, because now we are down to our usual last story. And I'm on the wrong one. Stop screen. Okay, let's try again. Share screen. Oh, you know what I did? I got rid of the screen that had tonight's stories. So I will go get them. Back to my website. Back to here. Okay. Now we can share screen. So we don't have it here. We're going to move it over. Okay. So none of the other guys have been able to come in. Ted, I guess, is busy. So we're going to go, as we do every week, going to go to glowing rectangles just to make anybody who's not aware of it. So this is glowing rectangles on Reddit. And let's see, let me get rid of some of my stuff off the screen. Okay, so if you go to reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles, you want to get yourself some exposure, either blog or video. This is the place you can just go put it any day you want, and people will upvote it and downvote it, but at least you'll be getting exposure for yourself or whoever else you want to get exposure. So once again, reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. This was started by Juan Bagnell, some gadget guy. When you go there, if you click on top, you'll see which stories were voted up the most that day. Like today, do I need to buy a flagship phone? Or can I say something? That's already been upvoted 11 times today. I upvoted one of Juan's today, and I upvoted Mike's car vlog today. The second one is always an ad. So the one that got the next most vote, was me. I'm sure Ted set this up to load my stuff automatically. Cool. Thanks, Ted. I'm going to upvote me, so there. Anyway, anybody who wants to get some exposure, you can go here and get some exposure. And let's see, I think I already upvoted that. I think I'm one of those too. Well, I'll do it. Couldn't hurt to do it again. And there's Mike's car vlog for today. That's from me. So you want to get some exposure, folks? You go to reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles and you can get it. So let me stop screen. And since nobody else came in, that will be it for tonight. Put my stuff back up. So, well, we made it to 9 o'clock. Not bad for me when I'm by myself. Ted, you were very helpful. And, of course, Brian and Renz donated as always. But Ted stuck with us. Eleanor was here. And Annette came in. I'm always very happy when you do. And anybody else who came along who didn't comment, we're glad you were here, and please think about coming back next week. So that's it for tonight, folks. And I'm hoping everybody has a very, very blessed weekend. And we got through a whole session with no camera issues, no nothing, thanks to Easy Computer Solutions and Eric. So much better picture and no more problems. So I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend, and we will see you next week. And Eleanor said night, night. That's so Eleanor. Good night, all.